Your MVP right now. Talk to me.
It's Patrick Mahomes. I know we've gotten tired and we trying to find somebody and moving forward. And obviously what Lamar was doing and Josh Allen is doing. I mean, both of those guys. Lamar had a bad week last week. But when you look at the league in totality and you look at the dynamic playmaking ability of Patrick Mahomes and then putting 41 points on a defense that we all thought was the best defense in the NFL. And I know Andy Reid is involved in that. The run game was prevalent in that. But I think we've gotten to the point, and Stephen A. understand this because basketball season is about to kick off, and we always have this conversation. And there are questions to be asked about who the best player in the NBA are. I get all of that. But we can't get tired and so used to what Patrick Mahomes does that we continuously look for somebody else to be better. He's the MVP right now of the NFL. 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1,100 yards passing, and he has a 108 quarterback rating right now, which I don't know what else you can do because we know that this is a quarterback trophy. We know that a quarterback in the NFL is going to win this award, and right now it's Patrick Mahomes for me. We just can't get tired of giving this dude his flowers and really acknowledging how good he is at playing this game at such a high level.
I think Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal, and I'm not throwing shade on that. You might be right, but I'm just going to tell you where my mindset is right now. It's with Josh Allen. And the reason why I feel that way is because I'm looking at what I'm seeing from the Buffalo Bills, the plethora of injuries. Their defense is compromised to some degree, even though they've been out there performing. The running game is not stout. You're constantly having to target Stephon Diggs, even though I think he needs to throw it to McKenzie and Davis a bit more, in my personal opinion. But I will say this. I think that when you look at the level of competition Patrick Mahomes is going up against, Arizona didn't seem like they were even ready to play a regular season game to open the season. The Chargers have been compromised to some degree. They've had some injuries. They've had their issues, okay? The Indianapolis Colts are not what we thought they would be. And then last week you showed up against Tampa Bay, and that was a legit ramrod. We got that. When I look at Josh Allen, I'm thinking about the what you did to the reigning defending Super Bowl champion Rams on opening night. I understand it was opening night with what I just said about Arizona, but they are the champions. I'm thinking about the Titans and how you destroyed them. That was a romp, so you didn't have to put up but so big numbers because you just blew them out of the building. Then you go up against the Miami Dolphins. You were compromised by the heat and cramps and all of this other stuff and what have you. That won't happen once they get to Buffalo, all right? You got that going on, and that was just a mess. I could use other words to describe what it was. And then you come back and you go and you come back from 17 down and knock off Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. You walk into the season with everybody expecting so much from the Buffalo Bills, with the specter of their history hovering over you in terms of blown opportunities, no Super Bowl championship in Western New York to speak of, et cetera, et cetera. And Josh Allen comes out there and plays that way. I just look at him as that dude right now. Statistically, clearly, Patrick Mahomes has an edge. I get where Swagoo is coming from. But I just look at Josh Allen in clutch moments particularly, and that's just how I feel about it.
Let's keep going. Matt.
I'm going to say Hurts, basically because of one reason.
Well, look who loves Jalen Hurts.
Oh, I don't love.
Look who
I don't love him.
Jalen Hurts.
I don't. I got to see. Good girl. I have to see more, but he's 4-0. So since he's 4-0, and Mahomes lost, and Mahomes lost to Indianapolis and only scored 17 points, and you could talk about the hot weather all you want. Allen did not have the ball twice against Miami, and they did not win the game in that spot with the fourth quarter, and he's got a loss too. Yes, his wins are impressive, but Hurts has had 4 lousy opponents. All right, I mean, Detroit's not got no defense. Washington, Jackson was playing fairly well. He put 28 on the board. I'll say Hurts based on a record, and I got to see more. You're asking me after 4 games. It's 4 games.
I want you to take that out of your vocabulary.
It's only 4 games.
You do not need to see more.
I got to see more. To be a great quarterback, I got to see more. So I'll say Hurts, though, because of his record. He's 4-0. The other 2 have lost the game. So I'll say him.
So here, I respect all of you. Swagoo, love you to pieces. But you guys are all wrong. The answer is Lamar Jackson, and here is why. Look, Swagoo mentioned, let's not get tired of Patrick Mahomes. Let's not move on from the greatness. Lamar Jackson was the AFC Player of the Month, and literally over one weekend, all of a sudden, he's no longer the MVP. I was there in Indy and watched the Chiefs lose to the Colts. And you're talking about, oh, well, that was just a bad game. To me, when I look at Lamar, he's doing more with less. And that is my biggest argument. The guy's averaging almost 10 yards a carry. The guy, you know who has the same amount of passing touchdowns as Patrick Mahomes? Lamar Jackson. I just think when you look at this team, the Ravens, he's literally accounts for 90% of their total offense. Picture what the Ravens would look like right now with this compromised defense, with them not playing consistently, without Lamar Jackson. To me, it's obvious.
Well, I would say this to you. They're 2-2. And so for me, where I look at it, and I'm not, again, you make valid points about him in all seriousness. The issue at hand is, let's fast forward and let's just say it was the end of the season. And let's say he was on the outside looking in, meaning that he doesn't make to make the playoffs, but Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Patrick Mahomes are in the playoffs. We would look at Lamar Jackson, says he has a phenomenal season, and we would also say it's a damn shame they wasted his efforts, and he wouldn't get the MVP award. There's no way he would miss the playoffs and he would win out against dudes who did. So I get what you're saying in terms of his value. There's no disputing how significant he is. He's everything to the Baltimore Ravens offense. We understand that, and numbers-wise, it's up there as well. The problem is that when the team is not winning as much as the other teams are, it could be potentially problematic, especially when you look at that defense and you see how porous they are against the pass. It's a travesty. Ray Lewis and Ed Reed need to pay a visit to that defense. They need to show up in Baltimore. If they live in Florida, they need to fly to Baltimore and have a conversation with these brothers about how they are embarrassing the legacy of Ravens defense. It's embarrassing how bad these brothers are against the pass. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.